Hey everyone, and welcome to the next episode of the Best of 3 Call of Duty Esports Podcast. I'm your host, Josh. SalvationsElite. To my right is Bash _ Bo3 on Twitter, Sam. And to our farthest right is Rex, ShadyNero. Guys, another week in the books, but no competitive Call of Duty in the books.
Ooh.
Unfortunately, as you guys, probably found out by now, I mean, I'd imagine, I hope you guys did, that CDL Minnesota was moved to the upcoming weekend.
Yeah.
Moved a week back because of all the tragic events in the United States the past week or so, week and a half or so. So, basically, we already did our predictions, so we're going to be going over all that. Before we get anything else, guys, I do have to ask, guys, what's going on?
Josh, I am feeling like I am living in a hot fire of drama and intensity, and I am thriving in it. I'm ready to eat the souls of my enemies right now.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Okay. All right. A little soul eating.
That was like
Right up my alley.
it was like this really dark, but like you said it with a smile on your face.
Respect.
It was very
Like a psychopath.
Huh.
Sam, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Yeah.
Doing good.
Not as good as Rex, I assume.
Yeah, no. That's good.
Nice. Sounds good. But all right, we got a lot to go over today. Even though there's no prediction, there is a lot of news, and we got some juicy topics today to go over. We're gonna go over the mid-season predictions, basically revisit some of the predictions we made at the beginning of the year, and talk about where our predictions are at now, moving forward with MVP, with a lot of other things. So I think it's gonna be a fun discussion to have, and we're gonna talk about some Call of Duty 2020 with Black Ops Cold War, and talk about the upcoming future of competitive CoD on that game and how we're gonna go through it also. But without further ado, we do have to read a review.
Ooh.
Because we do appreciate all of the supportive reviews here on Apple Podcasts. Of course, you can listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or watch on YouTube, as many of you probably are right now. We do appreciate that and appreciate all the comments, but we really do appreciate the reviews on Apple Podcasts. Helps us out a lot over there. And this is really straight to the point. Wooey says favorite fave. It always says just fave.
Okay.
Here in the title, it says fave. This is my favorite Call of Duty podcast. Thanks for keeping us entertained.
Wow.
Really straight to the point. Thank you, man.
Thanks, Wooey.
Wooey, thanks for the review, my man. We appreciate that, Wooey. And we'll be
stay fresh.
And we'll always be reviewing, reading those reviews, those 5-star reviews, of course. Shout out to everybody who's already joined the Fantasy League. I mean, it is full, unfortunately. So if you're hoping to get in this week, it already filled up. You got to get into the podcast earlier, I guess. But we'll be doing those for all the events. So if you missed this one, hop in on the next one. But yeah, I mean, as for challengers, though, I mean, another interesting week, of course. The Challengers Minnesota event actually ended up going on anyway, so that didn't get moved. So we still have the Challengers event this weekend, and for the NA at least, Atlanta FaZe Academy came back out on top. Of course, that's Journey, Gravity, Jimbo, Semblance, and Venom, and they had won the Atlanta Challengers Atlanta event. And they've had some success recently. I mean, at the beginning of May, they won the Florida Mutineers Kraken Bounty tournament, and then they've been top 8, top 6 some of these past tournaments. So they've been finding their success, and they finally came out on top again.
Not bad.
I mean, thoughts there? Solid stuff from them.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I don't want to forget to mention their coach Luti is part of that win as well.
Of course.
I think coaches need to be deserving of their respect. I want them to have a legitimate place here. But yeah, it's pretty, I mean, it sounds like they're on the up. They were getting like you said, top 8 before, and then Seattle they won, and then Minnesota they win again. And they just seem to be getting better and better each time. Ever since Atlanta, they went down, and now it's like they're starting to climb back up again. So I think they're on the up.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like at the beginning of all of CDL, I was kind of assuming every single academy team was going to be
one of the best teams,
all trying to be in the top 8, but we're only seeing FaZe Academy really doing anything. Do the rest of the teams even have an academy team?
I mean, at this point, not really. You know?
Yeah. What are the other academy
it's just
teams?
so
Are they
weird,
even around anymore?
Yeah. I was kind of hoping we'd see more support from that, but it could be a thing where people don't really want to be on a pro team if they're not going to be a starting lineup because of the whole not being able to play.
Yeah.
So whatever. But yeah, it is cool to see these guys, come out on top again, and Jimbo, a fellow Halo player, again. So that's really cool to see.
It's interesting because it's like basically all the other teams signed subs that like either they had no chance to be a top AM, or they're actually good players that could have been another starter somewhere else. And so it's like, I think FaZe went the right way by picking up guys who weren't necessarily there yet, and then they just play in the AM scene, and it works out for them in that case. Like, it's probably the best case scenario for them with how they have it set up right now for like Journey and Gravity and like that whole setup as a whole. So it's like it's actually really interesting compared to like everybody else right now with how FaZe Academy's playing. So Parasite finished top 2 there. So second, and then Team Vengeance was his Dilo, Stamino, Charles, Pentagram, Zinx' squad. Came in third. You got Get Busy, which Profizi, Gunjar, Exotic Fire, Paulex fourth. And then you got like Theory squad, TCM squad again. That was Fastballer. Theory, Fastballer, Twiz, Bullseye, Clamp, top 6, and TCM squad, who's been successful lately, which is 6 Gear, came in top 6 as well. So NA scene, interesting for sure. And then you go over to Europe again, and Team War back on top. Team War beat the new chain Madcat Nasty Nolson Weeman. Talking's hard for me tonight. Squad, and because that was kind of news in itself that Singularity sent Chain to go play. They loaned him out to this, what used to be London's Academy's team to play there, and then that team ends up finishing higher than Singularity, finishes second in the tournament, losing to War. So
what happened to Singularity?
Man.
Like, they were top, they were killing it. And
I was just gonna say,
dropped Chain.
Now they're getting worse placings. Like,
ever since they tweeted that gif of them like coming back to destroy the Europe scene.
Yeah,
they have not won one. I don't think, have they?
No, literally. So yeah, they won back-to-back North American AM tournaments. They got so in their 3 American AM tournaments, they got top 6, first. And then they came back to like Thanos snap away all of the competition in Europe, and they've got second and then third.
Unfortunate, so, man.
Pretty crazy. I mean, they got rid of Chain after their second place finish, after they got back from North America, and then they've gotten third. So you truly hate to see that.
Unfortunate.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that is cool to see Team War, being consistent as well, and pretty much, I feel like Team War, Team Singularity, and the EU scene is hard to deny. These guys aren't like the next up when you consider a pro league team. I mean, these guys are killing it. So really cool to see this scene taking over. Really.
Yeah, I wonder if it's gonna have any effect. Like, would let's say if there's gonna be expansion teams in the future for the CoD League, I would be surprised if there's expansion teams next season. But like, if in the case that there were, like, does it make it more likely to have a European expansion team where they just end up picking up this roster as their starting roster and then they just go from there, like, versus an American team that have to come in from an American city? And, it'd be interesting to see if like that actually be more likely of an option.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what the expansion team is. If it's a European expansion team, like we get, I don't know, an Irish lads team.
Insert team, yeah.
Yeah, then like I could see them picking up the European team. If it's a North American team, then I think they're gonna pick up a North American players because of visa issues, and it's just gonna be
branding.
cheaper. Yeah, branding, everything's just gonna be easier to deal with. But
it's a tough
hope we get another
situation.
European team. I hope we get more North American teams.
It's a tough situation to be a
picked
great North America or a European AM right now because it's like there's 2 European teams. If you're a North American team, you want to build your roster around Americans because they're just inherently going to be more marketable overall. And then I mean, you're basically banking on a European expansion team to get a starting roster spot right now. Because I mean, otherwise you're banking on you're not going to go on that London squad more than likely at this point. I mean, with the names on that roster, and then you're looking at Paris, it's probably your best bet. But I don't know. It seemed like they didn't want to build their roster around around UK guys as much as they wanted to like try other international roster spots. So it's like, it's got to be a really, really frustrating situation to be a really good European player right now, which, I mean, basically any of those guys in those top 3 teams are really good players. Even in North America, they'd be really good players. So like that's a tough situation to be in for those guys.
Yeah, you got to think that like these guys are just playing just to keep their stock up right now.
Yeah,
just in case. But yeah, they really don't have any security in the fact that there's going to be expansion teams.
I mean, third place only gets you $1,000.
That's just it's very sad. You hope somehow
tough.
These orgs are providing some sort of remuneration. You know, I don't know what they can do with the AM teams.
You get top 3 in a 153 team tournament.
I know,
and you get $1,000.
$1,000. It's like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like that's a lot for a weekend. Like
yeah, but not for guys who can easily go on a starting roster of a COD team.
No, absolutely, yeah. So tough.
That is rough.
What about the Asian Pacific Challengers?
Oh yeah, it's even worse.
Nothing. I mean, they got 1,000 for first, and then second place got 500.
Third place gets nothing.
Yeah.
Granted, there's less teams.
Which I mean, at the same time,
Asia
though,
Pacific
that's not surprising considering where there's the scene is at for APAC. But at the same time, yikes.
What about the players in APAC? I bet there's good players there that just
oh yeah, like you've got FIDA, you've got Crimza,
for sure. Yeah,
Damage.
Some well-known players who've been successful in the past and have won amateur teams. Yeah, amateur tournaments.
Denz is a phenomenal player.
So it's just I don't know, man. There needs to be some big. I bet we can probably do a whole podcast on AM reform, probably near the end of the offseason or maybe near the end of the year, and just do something like that.
Definitely.
With a whole podcast about AM reform, because we could easily talk for a long time about that as a whole. But
you can get into why there should be now open brackets for these guys to be able to win.
Yeah, and ways to create exposure for them as players, and more opportunities to make money, and encouraging, and a way to encourage young esport orgs to still try to get into the scene and pump money into it, because right now there's not any reason to. And
because did you guys see that Twitter exchange between I think it was FaZe or Zaptius that was asking the pros to help out.
Yes.
But then the pros are like, we can't help you when we are not getting helped at all either.
Yeah.
So that sucks too. A great way for the AM scene to be recognized would be for pros to
really embrace it.
However, if the pros aren't even being heard themselves, there's no reason for them to.
But also at the same time, is a pro really going to embrace the scene that's creating their replacements?
No, probably not.
I don't think you're going to expect to see these veteran guys. Why would Looney ever tweet?
Probably not
about the AM scene. He's
trying to get it himself.
He's just trying to stay in this league.
Yeah.
So,
whole other podcast probably.
It is. So I guess we can move forward and talk about a lot of the roster changes this week in the CoD League itself. Before we talk about, Seattle's probably its own segment, and then we're gonna talk some Black Ops Cold War and some actual midseason Call of Duty discussion. But roster changes. The first thing, Toronto. Speaking of Looney, but CleanX has been scrimming in place of Classic this week actually, which CDL Intel tweeted that Classic was benched for personal reasons or not playing for personal reasons. But from what we have heard, it sounds like this might actually be a full-on change. So I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts there?
I want to know why. I mean, I never thought Classic was some amazing player, but I don't think he was a major downfall for that team. And I don't think CleanX is the person to replace him.
Yeah, I know.
So it just seems okay. So, I mean, maybe the personal reasons are valid. Maybe something's going on just with himself, I guess. But I guess I just don't know the situation. If it was a perfect world, I don't think they would want to make that change.
It sounds a lot like the Prestinni situation.
I think it'll make him worse.
Where Prestinni was benched for personal reasons, which I still don't really fully get what happened with Prestinni.
It wasn't really clear. I mean,
it wasn't really clear. So this, again, this is all speculation, but this could be a thing where either A, Classic does can't play for some reason or doesn't want to play, or B, he's being forced to be benched, but then they're saying it's a personal reason
to make it look bad. It could literally be the whole stock thing. It could be
it really could.
Instead of sounding like you're benched, you just Classic's can I just get out in front of it? Can I get out in front of it and say I'm going to be benched? I'm benching myself.
Yeah.
It could solely be for a stock thing. I want to make sure I get on another roster at some point. I'm going to bench myself instead of being benched.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
But
It-
Toronto was on the up. Why would
I know.
Why would he?
That's the
So like,
thing.
why would he think that's going to affect his stock?
Me and
Like,
Sam both have Ultra coming out of the
Yeah,
the bracket. We have them beating the Mutineers and coming out as the loser of Group B.
and
Oh, yeah.
it does not make sense. Like Classic, he wasn't
Definitely
like
not.
severely underperforming. He was a decent player for this team when they're on the up and
Yeah,
up.
even
It just doesn't make
statistically, yeah.
sense.
And like, although the question is CleanX that good? Is CleanX just shown that he can be that good? It's possible.
Yeah,
I mean, hey, in that
Maybe.
Warzone tournament, he was insane. He
Mhm.
was nasty
He
in that
did,
Warzone
man.
tournament.
he did look good in that Warzone tournament. But
And
they might have
again-
just caught him in good moments too. But
definitely. And again, with the online thing too, you have these people that are
Yeah.
much more comfortable than playing on the main stage. So
True.
it could work out for them. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Classic had a .96 on the season.
so
That's totally normal.
so
yeah, it's not the worst thing.
I mean,
in the world.
JCap has a .81.
the only thing is just if CleanX has not been in the scrims, hasn't been creating chemistry with
Yeah,
his teammates, then
for
that's going to be a huge hindrance.
Or if they just think that they can go from being like a decent team to like, if CleanX can be that good, they can suddenly be a contender. Like, if they think that's actually like a legitimate option.
I guess, but they were looking better and better every
know.
time. Like
Yeah.
they clearly looked like they were improving. So it's
Yeah.
just like, why would you
Yeah.
destroy
They-
something that looked like was working?
they either think CleanX's ceiling is super high,
I mean, that's gotta be what it is.
or there really truly
Or
is.
Classics is just,
I
we've
think
hit
there's-
Classic ceiling.
Yeah,
I think maybe, but I think they're trying to bite off. Like, are they trying to go for a championship now? Like, just
Maybe.
keep trying
I
to
guess.
improve. Keep trying to improve your like team and yourself. Like, you guys were looking so good. You guys were on the up. You had the potential to maybe get into a finals. Like.
Yeah.
You're getting better, and then you make this change.
But maybe that's the argument.
Maybe there's legitimate personal reasons behind it.
But maybe they're looking
I mean,
at COD Champs and they're like, okay, if we give CleanX, 2 months in the starting lineup with us all playing together as a squad with CleanX, we think that we can get better and by Champs give ourselves a better chance to finish top 6 and inside big money than not. So maybe
is
that's the
Kleenex
argument.
that good?
I mean-
What player do you think is like Octane? You think he's like Octane level? Good
I don't know
like
about that, but
No.
at the end of
Formal
last year,
level
at the
good?
end of
He's
Black Ops 4,
not.
CleanX
Like, no
looked
one's
like
gonna be able to. Kleenex can't carry it. He's not that much better than Classic.
He
I
had a
can't
great
imagine
champ
he's that
showing.
much better.
he looked fantastic at Champs
He
in
was
Black Ops 4.
He was destroying.
Then why didn't they
Formal,
start
which
them-
is
start
hard
him
to
this whole
say,
time?
but
Yeah, that's the question is, well, if he's that good, why wasn't he starting at the beginning of the year? There's definitely questions there, but at the same time, like,
Toronto's just a weird team, though.
yeah, he's one of the most interesting and exciting options in the COD League, which is why I'm excited to see what actually ends up happening with him.
What
So-
about the rest of his teammates who didn't get chose to go up to starters? I bet they're so mad.
Oh, like Brack?
Like,
Looney.
yeah, that's literally the player I was thinking of was Brack. But yeah, like Brack or Looney, like they've got to be like pissed. Like Kleenex just took my spot. I mean,
Yeah. But
I don't
again,
know.
man, the
No
hype
one's
around
safe.
CleanX, he was for sure going to make a team, the whole time. He signed with CleanX. It's not like it felt like he signed with Toronto pretty early on, but I don't know if he had more options. We never really heard anything about him having more options. But yeah, so like everyone expected CleanX to get signed though after that Champs performance.
It is crazy that all you need to do is have a good champs performance, and your stock
Yep.
is high going
Oh,
into
yeah.
next year.
Literally.
I mean, like there is something to be said. Like you
Who
could
was looking at God RX till Champs?
no one.
Yeah.
Kleenex just shows up at champs and okay, wow, this guy is amazing.
Yeah.
Gets picked up right away.
Well, yeah. Oh, 100%. I
So-
mean, it's so true. So, I mean, your career could be made at Champs, especially this year when there's that much money on the line. So, I'll be interested to see what happens with CleanX, though. I mean, I think, okay, I mean, Rex already gave his opinion. Sam, long term, I guess we can talk about it we can talk more about it later on in full predictions, but for the season. But does it make them better long term, in your opinion?
Long term, if this team's gonna stay together for past this year, I don't know by champs.
By Champs? Maybe.
It's just so hard to say. We don't know if this is gonna be
Answer it,
played.
boy.
I know. We don't know if this is gonna be played on LAN or not at
Yeah,
champs. Do we?
True. No,
Fully?
we don't. No.
But I do think Kleenex does have a higher ceiling than Classic. I
Yeah,
mean,
for sure, for
he's
sure.
nasty. He's disgusting.
mhm.
But
That's clean.
again, it's just a matter of can he have the same vibes as Classic brought and the experience of playing at consistently high level. I don't know.
I would say long term makes him better, but
yeah.
All right, let's move on. Saints is in. Yo, we got tapped back in for Spart, baby.
Wow.
Yo,
finally.
Spart. I mean, he had his chance. It felt
probably
like
about time. Yeah,
he had quite a few chances.
A lot of chances, and he squandered every single one of them.
Yeah, I mean, numbers wise, Spart was not getting it done, and based off the performance of the LA Guerillas, based off the performance of the team, like you had to change something, and so it makes sense. I mean, Spart was sitting at a .73 KD.
Oh my god. That's another level. Like that's worse than that's worse. That's really bad.
The only person worse in the CDL, the only two people worse in the CDL is Happy and Aches. Yeah, but Spart, numbers wise though, a -214 plus minus, which means, you know, that's kills minus deaths. So -214. The next worst on the team is Vivid at -96. Well, that's not true. Is Aches at -116. Then Vivid at -96. There's some other bad ones in the league, like a Sims at -190, but a Sims played the whole season. Spart hasn't played the whole season. And it's tough. So, thoughts on Spart, man? Thoughts on the change? What are your thoughts?
Good change. Could have put anybody else there. Probably going to be an improvement. Like, yeah, you could have changed Spart for anybody, really.
And we still don't like really even know why those three originally, with Aches, Lacefield, and Saints all sitting out. Well,
they tilted really quick.
Well, Aches probably got benched. Then Lacefield and Saints, I feel like, sat themselves, didn't they?
It came off
but
like
why?
that.
Or,
they don't want to hurt their stock, but it's like, come on, guys, you guys don't have that kind of stock.
I know.
Like,
which, honestly, I feel like if they would have stayed with Saints and with Lacefield, and then maybe just replaced Aches, they probably could have been a better team by now.
I think Spart would have made them worse. I think they would have gotten worse with Spart.
Do you mean Saints?
No, with Spart. Because they would have. I mean, who are you saying? You keep Lacefield and.
I was saying. I was saying keep Lacefield.
I feel like, you know, they brought in Decimate.
Blast.
Or,
right?
I mean, they brought in Blast, Spart, and Vivid for that change. They kept Decimate.
If it was just Blast coming in, I feel like they would have been a better team. However, they replaced Saints and Lacefield, and then
Blast has been probably their best player.
Yeah.
Since they made the changes. But that was the thing. Before the change, Aqua was dominating.
He was.
And like we were like, wow, Aqua might be like a top 15 player in this league. But since then, he hasn't been anything like what he was at the beginning of the year. So, which is definitely weird. But I mean, like, to put it in perspective, like, you know, Spart and Vivid, they came on at the same time. Spart, Blast, and Vivid came on at the same time. Vivid has 789 kills in that span and 885 deaths. So he has 190 more kills and only 80 more deaths than Spart. That's tough. that is tough. And Vivid hasn't even been great. He's just been fine.
Yeah.
Like, he's been okay. You know, like, that is rough. Yikes. But
feel bad for Spart. Like,
I know.
This is like this was his time. This is time to make the league, and it just did not.
It did not go well.
Him.
No, I mean, I'd imagine he finds his way back into the challengers at some point here. But it's like, at this point in the year, a lot of challengers guys have found like their trio or even quad, maybe looking for like getting lucky with like finding a spot on like one of those teams that drops someone and finding your way in. I don't know. But no, I'll be interested to see. I mean, I do agree though, if they would have kept, imagine where they could be right now if they kept Saints in the whole time. You know? I feel like that could have been they could actually.
I mean, he brings experience. He brings.
But Saints put himself out, didn't he?
Yeah, that was the rumor at least.
Yeah. So it's just like, okay.
Unfortunate. That team was just. Ugh.
Yeah, I mean,
weird things going on.
Do you expect anything from them like in the next few weeks?
No. I
would imagine not, right?
No.
I mean, I don't think it's going to get much better, but I think they're going to get better, to be honest.
I mean, you know, what are their chances? They play Toronto, and then they'd probably play the Mutineers if the Mutineers lose to the Huntsman. So, I mean, it's not like they don't have a chance.
No.
Yeah.
It just is unlikely, but.
Yeah, it is. And then they've got a bye. They've got a bye for Paris. Then they've got New York, where they play FaZe. Great. Good luck.
Oh, they're done for there.
Yeah. So, yeah, they're in trouble. They're in big time trouble. They're very likely them in Seattle it's going to be a tough battle for either of them moving forward. But okay, do you guys want to move on?
Let's do it.
Yeah,
Let's
sure. Why not?
Let's move on to the first segment, which is just an extension of our roster change segment,
Really is.
which is the Seattle Surge, the transition there. I mean, we have a lot to talk about here. We got the whole Seattle team. We got Karma, the retirement of the GOAT, Mr. 3 times himself. We got, Octane on the CODcast with Nameless and
No free shoutouts.
Pac-Man, of course. Yeah, no free shoutouts, obviously. And then, of course, today the whole slacked Temp drama went down. So yeah, a ton to talk about with Seattle, dude.
So weird.
Mhm.
They're making news out there.
They are.
Well,
But-
that's the only kind of news they're going to be making. So.
I know, literally. But let's start with Karma, man. Obviously, the GOAT. I mean, one of the legends of the COD scene. It's probably the biggest retirement in COD in quite a while. I mean, maybe you could look back like TP as like the last like big retirement in
Nade
COD.
shot.
And Nade Shot, like he's right up there with those guys for sure, if not the biggest retirement of all time. So, I mean, it puts Seattle in a tough spot. You lose a guy that you have so much faith in, but at the same time, like he wasn't getting it done,
No.
right?
It really wasn't.
Unfortunate.
No, he wasn't.
I mean, he was average, right?
I just it hurts to see him go out this way. Like
Yeah, this
You
literally
would've-
feels like the Jordan Wizards.
which I have no idea. Okay. Anyways, yeah. I would at least like see him retire on some wins, but it just seems like this team just fell in the dumps and then he just walked away.
And then they lit the dump on fire.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
more stuff happened to it. I don't know. But yeah,
I mean,
it sucks.
I think he was thinking of retiring.
I mean, you literally
Earlier
talked
than
about
even
this.
this
You
game.
called this. You called this because you were like, Karma might retire.
I
This was
did,
like-
didn't I?
This was weeks ago, and maybe months ago.
Probably.
said-
yeah.
honestly.
Well, you could see it happening, but like it was like you could see it formulate. Because even before, like every Black Ops 4 and World War II is all like more and more. You can just see it. He's just kind of
Lost the passion.
That's really It's not that he's lost his skill. It's just like his skill comes from his passion, and when he loses that, it's just kind of like he's just going off just muscle memory.
Yeah.
And that doesn't get you wins. Like you have to want it,
Right.
So I think that's where he ended up. I think he was planning on retiring for a while, but then the league was franchising, and he's such a big name. Like how
Big
could you retire?
contract.
Probably getting big contract money. It's like such like all I have to do is just go make this money and play at an average level, But finally he did it. I respect him for it because I think he could even see like he doesn't care anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, I've hoped that maybe he'll come back again and he'll care about the next game.
yeah. There's definitely a chance.
But the game has to be good because that's the only way Karma
The game
is
has
good,
to
is
be
if he-
amazing.
Karma's only great if he likes the game. That's probably true for a lot of
A
pro
lot of
gamers.
pros.
Like
Yeah.
if they like the game, they're just going to be a lot better at it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But Karma, I think it hits even harder where it's like if he doesn't like the game, he just like doesn't like it, won't play it, doesn't care, and he's not going to be. He's going to be below average to average.
Yeah. Well,
I would
especially when
say
he's the type of
a little
guy
bit
like
below average this year.
he variety streams. He likes playing other video games,
Yeah, because he
where-
doesn't care about COD, so he
Yeah.
finds the other game.
So it's even more tempting when the game's not as
Yeah.
quote unquote good for him because then he's just like, well, man, I can go play like Rust. He plays
Yeah.
Rust all the time.
Oh yeah.
I can go play Rust, or I can have to go and sit here and play tens in Modern Warfare.
Yeah, I was gonna
Oh,
say like
you
there's the people that don't need to have passion when the game isn't good are the people that are sustainable without Call of Duty. Like
yeah, they're the ones that are most likely to retire.
he could still be making a ton of money
It's
and
why,
not so
Like at any point, Scump could retire, and like literally, it would not matter for him
Exactly.
financially.
Yeah.
It would probably help him financially, honestly, in the long term.
yeah.
But I mean, what are your thoughts with Karma from here? What do you think is the most likely outcome? Does he join the Huntsman as a content creator? Does he come back to the CoD League as talent? Does he coach? Does he come out of retirement when Cold War comes out? What's your best bet for where Damon Karma Barlow ends up?
Oh, man. I want to say first thing would be just streaming. I mean, that's just what he's good
Would
at.
that involve joining the Huntsman?
Probably. You would assume Hector would want him on there.
Yeah.
I assume they have a good relationship. He'd make money. But if he still does I feel like there's still a little bit of passion in his veins for Call of Duty. I feel like it's still there. Maybe he doesn't come back as a player, but as a coach, as an analyst for a team while he streams, that could happen.
Yeah, I mean, you see what Teep's doing?
Yeah.
I think that's a very likely outcome. Rex, what are your thoughts?
I don't know if he can do what Teep's doing. I mean,
Really?
I don't know if his personality. I mean, like I said, Karma's very much, if he's into the game, and yeah, he could coach it. When he's not into something, he's not into something. He's not going to coach it. He's not going to analyze it because he hates it. He doesn't care.
Yeah.
So he's just not going to be able to put his all into it, and it's just not going to be good. So I think if he ends up liking COD, sure. Could he be on the desk and analyze? Sure. I think he'll end up being like a celebrity guest at some point. But I don't know if it'd be a consistent thing because I don't know if he really cares enough about COD.
I mean, do you remember his like tipsy
I was
interview?
going to say, you put a few drinks into him, he'd be a great
he'll be
analyst.
a legend.
He'd be
He'll
a
be
great
a legend
analyst.
on the desk.
But they don't want that on the desk.
No.
That's from like a
that's too much of a
corporate
risk.
standpoint.
Yeah. Too much
And
of a
even
risk.
so, it's just like when he was doing that,
Yo,
he
they
was just
have Rich on the
talking
desk.
bad about the game. He
They've
was just
got
talking
Rich.
bad about the game when he was on the desk. Karma is just gonna roast things and like,
Bro,
you don't
imagine
really want that.
him and Rich and like as analysts together, bro.
That'd be
That'd be
funny.
so good.
It would be good. I would love to see Karma as an analyst. I think he'd give real, like almost like
Yes.
the hard, cold truths about the insights. So, it's like, oh yeah, JCap is terrible right now. Look at what he's doing. This is trash.
Yeah, it would be
Like he
awesome,
would say
dude.
stuff like that and he'd be like, yes, thank you. Someone said it. No one's like stroking his ego for some reason. So yeah, I don't see him going the route. Could he do the streaming route? Sure. But again, sometimes he streams with his camera off because he doesn't want to be seen. And like, how much is he going to invest into streaming in the long run?
Yeah, that's
I
the
don't know.
question.
I don't know him personally to know how much he would be able to keep doing it, you know?
Yeah,
Because he's
yeah.
very much a passionate person. So he's passionate, it's good, but that passion, it dies at some point, and it just comes down to like, can you just keep doing it?
Right. I don't know. I mean,
And I don't know about him.
I think he's an inherently entertaining guy. When he turns on that like entertainer switch, he's really
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
Which I think I would love to see him in Huntsman content. I think he'd be great for it. And so I would expect him to join the Huntsman, get that sustainable income for whatever that streamer contract is, and probably make something happen in that avenue, and just go from there, and then do celebrity appearance type stuff with the CoD League, like you said. Probably is the most likely outcome for Karma.
But how do you think he'd be able to sustain that? Like, would he be able to do that full time for the rest of his life?
I think so.
I don't know if he could.
I mean, he's good enough at
is-
games.
He's a hardcore
He's good
gamer.
enough, but I don't know if he can keep up with all that entails.
Oh, I think so. If Summit can be a full-time streamer, like, Karma's got him beaten personality, and he's really freaking good at games. Like, there's plenty of streamers out there who are full-time streamers who can support their families, and they're not as funny or as good as Karma.
Maybe. You might be right, honestly. I don't know him well enough to get an honest opinion, like
Yeah,
a real
I'd say so.
insight.
But
But you might be right.
But it'll be
I
cool
don't
to
know.
see
We
him
might
where he
get another
goes.
like Proofy situation with the Hunts, like with Proofy was
the
the
short
OpTic
stand
thing.
OpTic rejoin. Yeah,
Well,
that
it's
was,
like,
that was so
the
weird.
minute he joined, you could tell. I'm like, this isn't gonna last.
yeah.
I mean, at least that's what I thought. Proofy joined, and like they all bring out these hype videos about Proofy, and Proofy's really passionate for like the first month, and then it kind of dies. Maybe that was because OpTic was falling apart at that point, and
Yeah.
all that was happening. So maybe that contributed to it. So like maybe it's not totally on him, but I feel like that's what would happen with Karma is that he's gonna go in really hot. Head's gonna give him a lot, but once it's like comes down more to the nitty gritty, then he's kind of just start gonna fade away into the back until
I
he's
don't
like,
know.
I'm coming back to COD, guys. And I'm like, oh yes, 3 times coming back, and then he's back.
Yeah, I don't know. I could see him falling in love with another game and then blowing up as a streamer. And
Honestly,
That could happen.
Yeah.
That could definitely happen. He could try going pro in another game. I
yeah,
could see that happening.
exactly. Like there's
That
actually, I
is
think
more
that's
realistic
possible.
to me. More
Yeah.
realistic to me is that he tries going pro in another game. That's
Yeah.
more realistic to me.
that'd be cool to see his journey, though. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be killing it whatever he ends up doing. That's 100% fact. But let's move on to actually how this affects Seattle as a team. They're bringing up Proto. All right, so Proto's he's been on the roster since the beginning of this league as the sub. Him and Panda were, so that was kind of the discussion. Originally it was like, all right, who's going to replace Enable? And it's Proto. And it's interesting because like Enable still is getting the old middle finger, which I mean, Octane talked about on the CODcast. They're like, yo, what's happening with Ian? Like, what in the... And I mean, like something along the lines of, basically, Ian was like, don't bring me back anymore because y'all suck.
Yeah.
Like, that was something along the lines of what they said there. It's like, no, y'all suck and making me look bad. I don't want to play this. Like, don't bring me back.
Yeah, well, like, because, like, you think about it from his perspective, he probably wasn't trying to play in tens or be in their scrims. They asked him to come back. He's going to be rusty.
He's going to look terrible.
They're going to be terrible.
They don't want to play anyway.
Benches him again. He's not going to play anymore. And then to be asked to call back up, yeah, I mean, it's totally understandable. He's just put in a crappy situation.
His situation, I understand him being like, don't put me back in. I'm okay if you don't. That is someone actually saving his stock. That is something I can respect. Because his stock was going down. It's like, oh, Enable's losing it. Now he's like, you know what? Just going to wait.
Yeah, literally. I mean,
and I get that. I understand it.
With where this Seattle's roster is at this point now, with Proto, Pander, Apathy, Octane, Slacked. I mean, where's your like mind at with Seattle as a roster at this point? Like, do they have any chance? I mean, it doesn't feel like it, right?
Honestly,
it just feels like a team that they're gonna have one good tournament and they're gonna like come close to winning or win, and they're gonna be like, how do we do this? They might win champs and they're just gonna be like,
that's what
they're
I'm
just
thinking.
Gonna go on Twitter and go, ha. That's all the tweet's gonna be after they win champs.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be like, all right.
Like, I can see them basically not doing anything until champs, and then all of a sudden they're like
top three,
and then
Evil Geniuses World War II.
Yeah.
Like that's what's gonna happen.
Just pull the full on Evil Geniuses.
But there's no way any of these guys stick together. They're going the separate ways.
So I mean, like in the CODcast, you know, Octane said Proto already like came in, and they're like, dude, what are you guys doing?
Are you doing?
Like, you're not even calling out. Like, this isn't even practice. Like, what are you guys doing?
That's pretty ballsy for an AM too.
Like for a guy who's never played a pro scrim in his life.
Crazy.
But I mean, from my experience with the Proto, he's been good at this game. I mean, I played against him in a CDL playlist match once, and he smoked me.
Dang.
And yeah, it felt like he had something to prove.
Probably.
I don't know.
Is there a reason why?
Yeah. Well,
I mean, do we want to bring up the photo that was tweeted? Do we want to talk about that?
That's
see
the
how
whole
great he is.
So this spurred the whole drama. Today on Monday
which is fake drama.
It was fake drama, but immediately turned into real drama. It was fake drama with Seattle.
I don't know if it was fake drama.
Okay, so long story short, basically, Slack tweeted a picture of a scoreboard. It was a Dom against London.
Yes.
And they lost by like 50, and Proto and Pander combined.
Was it London? Whatever, doesn't matter.
I think it was London, right? And Proto and Pander lost. They combined for like 12, 13 kills. Got absolutely smoked. And basically, Slack. I have the screenshot here. Slack said. He said, so you guys have been asking how scrims have been going. The diabolical with the mind blown emoji. And yeah, so Proto had 5 kills and Pander had 8 kills. And it was Toronto. They were playing Toronto. And they lost by 50 in Dom to Toronto on Gunrunner.
I wouldn't say they lost because that screenshot was done in the middle of the scrim.
Oh yeah, there's a minute and 45 left.
The game was not even over yet.
But
the game,
there's a minute 45 left. The dude's already taking pictures.
Here's the thing: his whole team, every single one of his teammates came up and said that was literally a joke. They were all laughing. Second map, they basically chalked it up, and then for Temp
started going in on him. So he quote retweeted and said like, "So am I still the most toxic player in the game?" And then Slack started replying, and then so we unfortunately we don't have the tweets because Slack deleted every single tweet like almost immediately after the conversation was done, and so we don't actually have the full on conversation. But basically, they were roasting each other back and forth.
Yeah,
like
basically
you're terrible. Yeah. You're toxic. You're a bad teammate.
Basically said Temp had no chips yet, you know. And
yeah,
it's just like,
classic.
oh man, they're really going in on each other. Holy crap!
Which I mean, Slack. If you look at the wins, you look at the the history of COD, he's one of the most accomplished players in COD history,
which is weird to think,
and probably one of the most underrated, like, as a whole players in COD history, considering how accomplished he is as a player individually. And yeah, him and Temp were going at each other's throats. It became real drama real quick.
Yeah, but I think it was more about Slacked was roasting his teammates.
Well, right. I mean,
I don't know how else you would take that. That was definitely just roasting his teammates. Like, especially when you do it, that means he was tilted. If the map wasn't even over. So
he was definitely a little tilted.
He basically chalked scrims himself. He pressed the middle button, pulled up the scoreboard, stopped moving, and when there's like 2 minutes left, and took a picture of his two teammates doing terrible and saying, "Look how scrims are going." And like they just got this new roster with these new players. It's like, how else do you take that?
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, Proto and Pander both said. Proto and Pander both said they were at that point in the game, they were already joking like crazy and had already chalked the game at that point. So like there really wasn't anything actually happening, and they both said it was totally fine, like no biggie. So
of course they said that. They're teammates or whatever.
Yeah,
but
and they're still the younger
definitely,
guys.
Yeah, they're AMs. They can't get mad. They can't have drama with these
pros. It's not really fair for us to
to
call them AMs anymore, but yeah, no,
right.
I got you.
I think it was real shots at his teammates. I think it was toxic.
Yeah. I mean, the whole CODcast was really interesting with Octane as a whole, because I mean, you know, based off the whole Seattle situation, the question is like, where are they going to go from here? I mean, are they going to play with Proto and Pander this whole year? And like, based off the conversation with Octane, I mean, Octane said they literally sat everybody down who's on the roster, and they like picked out all the places where all of them be willing to get traded to. They're like, all right, well, everyone, where would you be willing to get traded to? Put it down on the whiteboard.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, we'll start from there, see where we can trade everyone. And like they said nothing came of it. They couldn't get anything to work. And there's just like no options. And then you know, he said, like, he talked about the whole Gunless thing where, like, you know, Gunless on Hex, we've talked about this before on the podcast, but Gunless on Hex's podcast on Eavesdrop said that, you know, Octane didn't want to play with him, which is why that they didn't team and everything. But then Octane was like, dude, that was not it. Like, at this point, of course I would play with Gunless. Yeah. Like, if I could get Gunless on my team right now, he's like, I would do anything to get Pierce on my team right now. But I thought that was just absolutely hilarious. But I mean, Octane literally sounded like there was no option.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I really, really enjoyed though. Because I honestly thought he might go on there and be like, yeah, we're just pretty much chalking the season.
Not talking about anything else.
But he did say, like, he is still trying. Like,
yes.
That was really cool to hear from him. I think that just shows, like, great character on his point. And I think everyone on that team is still going to try, of course. But in the long run, it's probably not going to amount to anything because they're just so far behind.
They say it's nobody's fault, which is just like, that can't be true.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
I can't believe that's true.
It's not Joey's fault.
Which is
emphasize
like,
that
you can't. Yeah, it's not all Joey's fault. But I mean, he is the coach. He's the one who's supposed to formulate this team and get them organized and working as a team. And apparently, that's the one thing that's not happening. That's the point of the coach.
Yeah.
So I still give fault to him. They can say all they want because they're roommates, they're friends. Of course, they're not going to talk bad about each other. But we're coming down to the honest truth. I think Joey's a little bit at fault here, but I think the players are also at fault in their own way.
Yeah.
And like, again, you say, of course they're trying really hard, but of course they're going to say that. They're not going to say, I'm not trying anymore. Otherwise, like, their org would be really mad. I'm sure their org's already super mad.
Yeah.
So if they say, I'm just not trying anymore, that's like, the org's just like, that they're going to be really, really mad. So of course they're not going to say that. I don't think they're trying. I mean, they're going to try just enough to make it look like they're trying.
Right.
But if that makes sense.
But like, what do they have to lose to, like, try it? Like,
exactly. They have nothing to lose. But like, their scrims, they're going to be laughing in scrims. They're not going to take scrims seriously.
Probably.
If someone's not taking scrims, that means they're not trying. They're not taking practice seriously. It means they're not trying. Individually, when they get into a tournament game, it's like, yeah, I'm going to try and win. But they didn't prepare to try and win.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like the $2 million first place is enough incentive.
And the fact that everyone is going to be at champs.
Yeah, I think that's enough incentive to try. I truly do think they are going to try with what they have. So I guess I would counter that point, but I do see where you're coming from though. Like, again, these guys are probably joking around more than they should.
I'm not expecting anything for them until champs.
No, yeah. So
right? I mean, what are the odds that they actually end up winning like multiple games in one tournament?
Yeah. So
pretty low.
Pretty low.
Do you think that Proto and Pander in this roster, like, what would it take for them to turn into like a top 8 team at least? A competitive team week in and week out. What would it take?
Jeez.
Proto needs to just start shining like a star, man. Like,
yeah.
I think Proto just needs to give them hope and basically just become like this all-star player for some reason. And then they're going to be like, oh, wow, he's really good. And Octane's really good. Okay, we have a chance. You know, they're just expecting
like Proto
to be
would basically have to be Simp of BO4. Like
he'd just have to get really, really good.
Yeah.
Man.
That is a tough spot to be in.
Yeah, it's going to take a miracle. It's going to take Proto to be amazing. Proto needs to inspire all the rest of the teammates to keep pursuing it crazy, and then they'll start seeing some results. But I don't know if they're going to make any waves until a potential crazy run of champs.
Yeah.
That's just a prediction.
Yeah.
And I think
unless they were able to find a way to like make a big time roster change, like you bring in like the talented Gunless and something clicks, like all of that drive and passion all of them have just like ignited again with Gunless back in the mix.
Definitely.
Like, but that would just be shocking. It'd be really surprising. I don't see it happening.
Yeah.
But all right, let's move on. We were gonna talk about Black Ops like Cold War and esports and like maybe even the PS5, but the PS5 is getting announced on Thursday. Like, and we're gonna learn a lot more about the PS5 as a whole. We currently don't know whether or not like the next year of COD is gonna be played on PS5 or it's gonna be played on PC, and that's gonna affect, I mean, at least almost everybody in the competitive community, whether or not we buy a PC or a PS5, because I mean, if it's being played on PC competitively, that's a pretty big financial investment for a lot of players in this competitive community versus playing on PS5. So we'll see what happens with that. So we'll talk more about that probably next week. And we want to talk about Black Ops Cold War and like esports as a whole, but we might save that for maybe next week's podcast or future podcast and really go in on like everything we want to see with Black Ops Cold War. Probably. And there should be an announcement here soon about that as well. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're way past the announcement dates of like Black Ops 4, COD World, or even Modern Warfare, which was late in itself.
Yeah.
Like Black Ops 4 was announced way earlier on in the year than this. And I mean, we had a demo or like a beta be able to that was playable at Anaheim during Black Ops 4.
That's weird. Huh.
Or I guess during World War II. We were able to play Black Ops 4 at Anaheim in COD World War II.
That's crazy.
That was in June. Like the middle of June, we had a beta to play.
Huh.
Like for that. Like that was crazy. I mean, we played some controls on Seaside.
Control.
I clutched a 2v1 to end. That's what I'm saying.
There you go.
Nasty,
wow. Salvation's elite.
I know. But
elite.
Anyway, we'll save the whole conversation for, I guess, when more information's out and PS5 next week. So we'll talk about that later. All right, segment 3, our last segment of the day, but by far not the least, is kind of like our whole midseason discussion on the rest of this year. The first thing we want to discuss is the Rookie of the Year prediction for like the end of the year at this point for what we know. I mean, there's a few pretty good and interesting candidates at this point. Mm-hmm. Who would be your guy, your pick at this point for Rookie of the Year?
Like, do we have a list of the rookies?
We not have a list currently available, but I guess what I mean by like your pick, as in who do you believe will be the Rookie of the Year at the end of the year at this point?
There's only one right answer, so you don't need a list.
I mean, the leading 2 candidates at this point are Shotzzy and Mack.
It's Shotzzy. It's Shotzzy.
It's Shotzzy. Says
Mack isn't even good. A rookie.
I need to wait to see what Shotzzy does in the future.
Hasn't he been in the COD scene for?
Not a pro player though.
I guess, but this is literally Shotzi's first year in Call of Duty. Like
they're both rookies.
He's a true rookie, I guess. But Mack Melts has never been
Mack
in
Melts
the
is
pro
not
league.
A true rookie.
Yes, he is.
No.
I mean, was Simp a true? Was TJ a true rookie? Like they all play like AW, you know, like
yeah, he's a rookie.
No,
Oh my word! Just the oozing
Mack
from.
Melts is a true. He's a true. We're calling
So
him a
you
rookie.
believe that by the end of the year, Shotzzy will for sure be the rookie of the year?
100%. There shouldn't even be a question about it.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, Empire is going to be. The argument is that Empire is going to be. Maybe you should be giving the argument. What's the argument?
It's this kid has he had a rocky start. Came into Call of Duty from Halo. This is his first year at Call of Duty, and he's turning on the Jets, bro. And he just did a phenomenal.
I think the argument is that he's going to be on one of the best teams in COD.
Yeah.
Like depending on versus like New York, where that's not going to be the case necessarily.
Absolutely.
Shotzzy still has to prove himself, I think.
Yeah. I mean, is there any chance that ILLeY could
He's
like
been
turn
looking
on?
good, and I think it's going to stay consistent. But I think Shotzzy still needs at least this next tournament.
Like, do we believe that
For you to
Shotzzy's
be
going to be the
like-
lead slayer the rest of this year for the Empire? I mean, maybe not. I mean,
Even
depending on what happens with Hook and ILLeY.
even if ILLeY starts to turn on the Jets, ILLeY is late. Like he's still he hasn't
Right.
been
Shotzzy's
showing
already
up.
had like the breakout event.
Definitely. So even if ILLeY does start coming around and slaying out,
But
Shotzzy's
Mack
still ahead
Melts
of
has
him.
been hot fire from the beginning.
Not from the beginning. Absolutely not from the beginning.
Well, kind of from the beginning.
Not really.
Kind of from the
He,
beginning.
he had an average showing his first event.
Let's look at Shotzi's first showing.
I know, but like
Trash.
Trash.
that's my
Garbage.
that's my
Garbage.
argument. That's my argument. You were saying he was from the beginning. He was good. He wasn't from the beginning. He wasn't good.
He was
So-
average to above average. It wasn't garbage.
I wouldn't say he was above average. I would say he was at most average.
But now he's really, really good.
I mean, Mack's sitting on a 1.1 KD right now, which is really, really nice. And
And let's not forget, Mack has yet to even play a LAN as a pro too.
Shotzzy's
So,
sitting on a 1.01. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
and Shotzi's never proved himself on land. No, that might not be true, actually.
I think that's not true. And Shotzzy
Yeah,
that's not true.
Shotzzy had way more time to lower his KD. Mack,
Well, I mean, Shotzzy, when Empire won their LAN event, I mean, it wasn't like he was great. I think he was sitting like
It
around a
wasn't
1
like
KD.
he was the reason why.
No.
Yeah.
No, that event, we weren't sure who the MVP was when Empire won on LAN. But, no, yeah, I mean, Mack, it'll probably come down to champs to really decide who is the MVP of the season. I mean, you'd imagine, the champs is going to be pretty heavily weighted on the MVP argument, considering who succeeds at the tournament as a whole. But, I mean, is there an argument, like, what if Awakening pops off? I mean, that's
Maybe.
possible.
Yeah, it is possible.
So it's like you look at those guys and you're like, well, maybe, I don't know, who knows? Proto.
Yeah, Proto.
You
even.
never know, right? You never know with Proto.
But I think as of right now,
Would you vote Mack?
I think I would vote Mack right now. Mack seems like he's going to be consistently this good.
Right.
Shotzzy, this next tournament, we'll see.
I still don't like
But
how you
Mack
can't
Melts,
say like
I'm
Shotzi's
I'm
ceiling
pretty-
is so much higher.
I think Shotzi's ceiling's pretty high too. I think Shotzi's going to get a lot better also, but I don't know. We have to see. Mack Melts, I feel like, has kind of proven it.
He's a.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, it definitely feels like a 2-horse race with Mack Melts and Shotzzy right now. I'd be totally fine with either. In my opinion, I think Mack Melts is currently the more talented player as a whole. Like, I think if you put Mack Melts onto the, this is always a stupid argument. But if you swap them, I think Mack Melts would perform better in that swap situations type argument, in my opinion.
I agree.
If given the same amount of practice and all, with all things considered.
I disagree, but
I respect that. I think Shotzzy's going to be a great player, and like that team's starting to come together. But Mack Melts, given the situation, what he came into, and how that team was performing before he got there, and how the team's performing after he got there, I think it shows the natural talent of Mack Melts. And I don't think we've seen the best of Mack Melts yet.
He turned that team around. New York, we were like almost near the bottom. Now they're like, I don't know, could be top 5. Like,
Yeah, it's even weird because like we've seen now London looks better with Zero there too. So like it's not even like Zero was quote unquote that bad of a player, Like I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think any of us thought that Zero was that bad of a player, but I mean, you bring in Mack and now suddenly it's a whole new ball game for New York.
New York.
Have they won?
New York's scary now because of Mack.
I mean, they have their issues.
have they won? Shotzi has
You're
2
gonna be
chips
this
this year.
guy.
Shotzzy has 2 chips.
Chips.
Yeah.
You're going to be this guy.
I am.
And one of them, he wasn't the factor of why they got that chip.
I think if I remember right in my video, I think I said Clay was the MVP of that tournament. But yeah.
Possibly, but Shotzzy has to prove consistency. That's what he doesn't have. He hasn't proven his consistency
Mack,
yet.
you can't even say Mack is consistent with.
They want LA, right?
With as
yes,
little,
you can.
No,
you can
can't.
say Mack has never like severely underperformed.
He has like what
Shotzzy
3
has
events under his
severely
belt.
Okay, there we go.
underperformed.
Shotzzy did have a 1.07 at LA. Clay had a 1.05, Hook 1.01, ILLeY 0.96, Crim 0.94. But I mean, of course, KD's not everything. We always have to preface it with that because people get in a whole fuss when you just label throughout the KDs out there. Again, in my opinion, I thought Clay was the MVP of that tournament as a whole. But a 1.07 as an SMG on a team that wins the championship or a tournament or whatever you want to call it nowadays is impressive for sure. But I believe as an individual player, Mack and what he's done with the New York Subliners is the rookie of the year.
I just don't even.
By the end of right?
Yeah.
Would you, Rex? Does your opinion change from right now to end of the year? Because I think if I said right now, I might say Shotzzy, but by the end of the year, I think for sure it's gonna be Mack.
Oh, wow. See, I'm different. I see right now it's Mack. I could see end of the year it being Shotzzy.
Like if Empire wins CoD Champs, is that what you're saying?
I can see end of the year Shotzzy surpassing Mack Melts.
I mean,
But
he's
Shotzzy
already
has not
surpassed
proven
him.
consistency to me.
You
Shotzzy
can't.
has not
okay,
proven consistency to me.
should not even like. You can't even. Mack has 3 events under his belt. That's not even statistically valid
But
data.
every event he's done well.
He
Shotzzy got like a 0.7.
He was
in
average
his first
at his
tournament.
first event.
He went from
and his
0.7
next 2
to this.
events,
Like,
he was good. That's not
tell me a
statistically
time
valid
Simp went
data.
0.7.
He started coming into the league when it was online. I mean, that like
I like this Sam. This
consistency
is the
shouldn't
Sam we need to
even-
have all the time on the
Consistency
pod.
should not even be a word like described right now. Like that.
how could you
there
say
is no
consistency doesn't matter? If Simp just
I'm
showed
not saying it
up
doesn't matter. I'm saying you
last
can't
year,
even say
and
either of
Simp-
these guys are
and
consistent.
And Simp
You just
gets
can't.
a 0.7.
You can't say
You're
they're
gonna be like, well, why the hell is Simp getting a 0.7? How can he be your MVP?
Right.
Like, I
it does not
think
make any sense
the
to me at
rookie of the
all.
year is going to be a consistent player that actually performs for his team. You can't have somebody who doesn't perform for his team all the time. He doesn't perform for his team all the time. He's not playing well.
Mack has played 3 events. If you want to compare, like, Mack needs to play like what 3 or 4 more events.
That's why
for
I'm saying right now, Mack for me would be the
I'm
rookie
saying
of the year.
I'm saying you can't say
But
Mack
I could see Shotzzy at the end of the year surpassing him, but Shotzzy has not proven to
Mack
me
has-
that he's consistent.
Mack has 19 hard points played. Shotzzy has 32.
I'm just saying you can't like say Mack has been consistent when he's like that's like saying someone has a good tournament and like he's consistent. Like no, we need to see him over a whole span of the year. I'm making the argument that you can't say Mack has been a consistent player because he doesn't have enough tournaments under his belt to be consistent.
Okay, so now I want to say let's push the.
It's consistent. Consistency is consistency. Even if it's 3 times or 20 times, if you do it every single time,
Let's
it's consistent.
Let's
it's until
push
they
the
don't.
argument forward looking. Argue for why Shotzzy will be the MVP by the end of the year. And Rex, who do you believe will be the MVP by the end of August?
I think Shotzzy. I think by the
Okay,
end of
so
the
you
year,
guys are on the same
Shotzzy.
page, really.
Yes, but right now it's not Shotzzy. Right now, if we're like season ends right now, Mack Melts is rookie of the year.
There's just no.
I think by the end of the year, Max, they're probably gonna have very similar stats. I think by the end of the year, they're probably gonna have
I think
both
you're
around.
crazy to think Mack at the end of the year is gonna be better than Shotzzy.
But I just think that the overarching argument that I mean, realistically, New York could easily be a top 4 team by the end of the year, maybe for sure 5.
True. I mean, I don't know. Shotzzy hasn't been consistent for me, so I don't know how Dallas is going to keep performing. People talk like they're strong, but let's see what happens
you love
with
Dallas more than
Shotzzy.
anyone, Rex.
I love Dallas. They're my favorite team. But like, I don't know. Shotzzy, I can't confidently be like, oh yeah, he's rookie of the year. It's like when he hasn't been consistent.
I mean, I realistically, by the end of the year, we could legitimately see Mack and Shotzzy as like both top 10 players in the league. And
Yeah,
you could maybe already argue that. Like, I mean, there's probably people who probably may already argue that very easily by the end of the year, both these guys could be top 10 players. like looking back on the old season. So I don't think there's
Very
a world
easily,
where
yeah.
either argument's that crazy because they could both be fantastic.
I do see Shotzzy's ceiling being a lot higher though than Max. I think Shotzzy has potential to be better. I don't know if Shotzi's there yet, but I think Shotzzy definitely has potential to be better.
Yeah.
Have you seen his movement? Just watch their gameplay. You can see Shotzzy just got that.
I mean, no,
little bit of
Shotzi's insane.
spark.
Again, that's what I'm saying. Like, I
Shotzzy's
totally
got
think
that
both of them are
Simp
great.
spark. You watch Simp play, and you're like, that's kind of an all-star play. Like, just the way he moves is just different, just better than everybody else's. And Shotzzy has that same sort of vibe where it's like it's very unique to him. It's very Shotzzy, which that's the marker of someone who's kind of has potential to be a legend.
Yeah.
Mack just looks like a good player, a solid good player. Same way that Kenny seemed that way.
Yeah.
In World
I
War
can
II.
see that. That's a good argument.
He looks really good.
That's a good comparison.
But Shotzzy has that certain spark, the same spark that Simp has. It just kind of like sets them apart. Scump had that same spark too. Still has his own uniqueness.
Yeah.
But
well, okay,
obviously
like, in the
it's not the
same
same
line of this
Scump as
conversation, okay,
before.
let's move forward then to MVP then. All right. I like the whole like conversation of now's MVP as of today, and then the conversation like two different predictions, one for as of today, and then the prediction for who will be by the end of champs. So
Rookie of the year, you mean?
No, MVP. MVP. So
Of the league. Okay.
Of the league, yeah. So who, in your opinion, is the MVP right now, and who will be the MVP by the end of champs? Sam?
Man, MVP right now, man. I mean, it's hard not to say someone on FaZe, right? Like,
yeah, right.
whether it's Simp or Cilium. Those two names just keep popping up for like every single, event. They're putting up crazy numbers and they're just solid players all around.
Yeah, I mean, you could also argue maybe like Envoy. I mean, the Huntsman
You're
have one.
obsessed with Envoy, dude. You are so obsessed with him. Like, he's good, but he's not like some crazy legend. Like, I can't. It just blows my mind how obsessed you are with him.
What do you mean, bro?
He's good. Don't get me wrong. He's good, but like, you put him up there as like he's the next like Scump. Like, he's
Josh,
not.
you're obsessed.
He is.
Get
Right?
out of
He's
here.
obsessed with Envoy.
What in the world? No. What do you mean? He's been one of the best players this year.
In Black Ops 4, yeah, I know. No, like Envoy's good. He's good, but MVP,
What just happened?
like, come on.
You just got roasted, bro.
No. I did it because
Am I wrong,
Envoy's
Sam? He's obsessed with them. Like,
there has been a
every
lot of talk.
podcast, we're talking about great players. What about Envoy, guys? It's like, dude, come on.
we're roasting me for saying the same thing. Rex.
Oh man, no one's safe. No one's safe.
J-Cap? How many times have we heard J-Cap's
What's wrong
name?
with J-Cap? J-Cap's bad. I think everyone
That's what
can
I'm
attest
saying.
J-Cap's bad player, but
No.
Envoy's
Okay.
Envoy's good, but like he's not
The
some
Huntsman what I'm
crazy,
saying is the Huntsman
amazing
have won two
number one
tournaments this
player.
year. The Huntsman have won 2 tournaments this year, and you feel like you have to mention somebody who's on a team who's won 2 tournaments as an MVP candidate.
But you also made the argument though about the whole Reddit post of whether they take Envoy or Simp. You thought it was crazy to take Envoy.
Well, of course, I would say Simp is the MVP
Yeah.
of the league right now. Of course, I'd say that.
Okay.
He has a 1.19 KD
That's
as a
all.
sub.
Yeah.
That's nuts. I mean, looking at this right now, the next highest KD for a sub is Pharaoh at a 1.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, it's at a 1.12 for Pharaoh.
Wow. I didn't realize he was putting up those kind of numbers.
I mean,
Yeah, Pharaoh's always been good. We've known that. He's just on a team that
Good for him.
can't really back it up.
yeah. So, I mean,
Yeah.
putting up a 1.19 for an SMG for what Simp's doing is nuts. He's the MVP.
It's hard to say anyone but Simp or possibly Cilium, right?
Yeah, you could. Oh, I mean, yeah, Celium
Right.
you could argue for sure. I'd have no problem with somebody arguing Celium.
Yeah.
But I just think the value that Simp brings as an SMG versus any other player on any other team, just comparing
Yeah, man.
SMGs is just so valuable.
Simp is so good.
Yeah,
He's crazy.
That's a player that like, you can keep bringing that name up. Like, he legitimately is like, he's just astounding.
yeah, exactly.
Maybe one of the best players that's ever touched COD right now.
Potentially.
He's starting off his career as hot as you can. I mean, that
Absolutely.
is
And
that
then
is a
he's
fact.
been consistent.
Yeah,
And he's bringing it over to Modern Warfare and is still probably the best player.
yeah.
He's on the best team and he's the best player on the best team. It's like,
That is phenomenal work.
And no one really argues that except for maybe Celium touches him, you know?
Yeah.
But it's like, but Simp is so strongly in that spot.
100%. I mean, it's a shame because like GodRx would definitely, if the last two events didn't ever happen, GodRx would have definitely been in the MVP conversation.
Yeah,
But after-
GodRx is like
Poor GodRx.
an unfortunate situation. Like
Too bad he wasn't consistent.
He
I know the last two events have just been so tough for Minnesota.
I
mean,
never want to hear consistent like the word for the next week.
Too bad GodRx wasn't consistent. Hopefully Shotzzy isn't inconsistent.
I've had my confrontation for the month of June.
Yeah, you raised your voice a little bit too high.
I did.
You're gonna have to start whispering to make up for it.
Yeah. Wow. Oh
But-
gosh.
Okay, so MVP prediction for the end of the year. I'm saying Simp.
Yeah,
Who
Simp for me too.
would come up to take his place?
I mean, you could make. I mean, if let's say Empire wins champs, you could make the argument it's Shotzzy. Let's say Huntsman win champs. Who's the MVP? You know,
Oh
like-
my god.
But like
Envoy.
Version.
You know,
I can see
if New
Scump
York
doing
win
it.
champs, then suddenly maybe you have an argument for Mack. If by the end of the year he's having like a 1.15 and they win champs, like that's a good argument for an MVP.
Yeah.
But okay, let's make a champs prediction first. Who's your champs end of the year prediction at this point?
Jeez.
Mid-season prediction for champs. Rex, fire away.
Wow.
So much can change.
Empire. I think it's gonna be Empire.
Empire.
That's ironic.
It's just,
That is ironic. Sam,
man,
do you believe in formal?
I just don't see Huntsman winning champs for some reason. Well, not,
I think
not for
Huntsman's
some reason.
kryptonite's gonna be FaZe. I think FaZe is gonna beat Huntsman every time.
They were scrimming today.
Juicy.
I'm pretty sure they're losing a lot. So
I feel like FaZe just seems set up to destroy Huntsman. Like I feel like they're just set up for it.
I can't get out of either FaZe or Empire for right now.
Yeah.
How do you not say those two names?
I mean, it would be a shot in the dark to call any other team.
You're gonna call a champs
I'm
run.
saying FaZe. I'm saying FaZe is winning champs. I'm taking the safe road, the obvious road, but it feels like the most likely by far.
Yeah, I would say FaZe too.
Yeah. Okay. So if it's not, let's give our shot in the dark team as well. Our
But can FaZe change their play style? That's, I think, the power that Empire has. Empire has the ability to change their play style to fit what they need to do. And I think that's what sets them apart from the other teams.
But is it enough
Empire
to
can play
overcome the
slow.
talent differences?
Empire can play fast. Empire can do both. Empire can play against FaZe and beat FaZe, whereas Huntsman, they're just kind of outclassed. Like their subs are just outclassed.
Bold take.
Yeah.
But okay, let's go
Like
our
they're
shot
gonna
in the
try
dark
and
team
match
though.
FaZe, and they're just not gonna be able to do it. And like I don't know if they can adapt to change the style that counters FaZe. That's the only way you beat FaZe is if you counter what they do. You can't try and match it. You just can't.
Yeah.
That's what Empire is able to do. That's why Rokkr beats FaZe. Is because Rokkr has that counter sort of playstyle, which is more like, I guess, slower and forces the other team to slow down, has to make them slow down.
Yeah. I mean, unless you can, at the same time, though, the same argument is that, like, Rokkr were able to beat FaZe with, like, a sim dropping, like, 0.9s, so you don't need...
Yeah, because their subs are not the power. It's the slow-paced, teamwork-based gameplay.
Right. It's the ARs setting the tone and beating Celium, like, around the map, and, like, that's what might... But, I mean, you could also argue that the Huntsmen have the ability to do that, where
But
I actually have more...
known as the fastest player in the league, Envoy and Scump, I don't know, their whole
but
powers are based on that.
The Rokkr were
kinda,
able to do it, and they had a Sim and Alex.
Yeah,
So-
but the players on the Rokkr, but they also GodRx and Silly, who are not these fast players. Like, I don't know. It's just like the players on Rokkr and the way they play is just different than the way... I don't think Huntsman could ever match the way the Rokkr play.
But
or the way
talent-wise, I mean, you look at
Empire
they have
able to
Silly
play.
and a Sim versus, like, then you're
the
talent of...
The talent
like,
is definitely
Arcitys,
higher on the Huntsman if you talk about individual gameplay, but I think the way the
Envoy.
team chemistry works and the way the team works together, I don't know if the Huntsman the way those players are can ever do that. And that's what I mean by being adaptable. Whereas I see the Empire,
I honestly think the Huntsmen are more of a threat than the
they can change their
Empire.
play style to do what they need to do.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's why I think Empire's
unless
set apart.
ILLeY needs to level up for the Empire to be really dangerous. I mean, they're really
he's
good
the
right now.
OBJ now.
That's what's
ILLeY
crazy is
wasn't
that they're
originally
really
the
good right now.
OBJ.
And like,
ILLeY was the Slayer, and Shotzzy was the OBJ. They switched those roles,
yeah,
and so maybe it's gonna be better. Like maybe that's what makes them more adaptable now.
it is just crazy the Empire's seen the success they've had without having the elite slaying that a lot of other teams have had, which is interesting. But like, I don't know if you can keep that up and sustain that long term unless Shotzi's gonna level up and drop 1.1s every event, and you need another sub to do that as well, or at least be like at a 1.05.
I think they can. And Clay's been showing up too. Like,
yeah,
I think the way the teamwork works on the Empire and the way they play, they just know how to adapt to things and change the tone of the game. They control the tone of the game.
Yeah.
No matter,
it's just hard to imagine.
FaZe is so powerful with the tone they set. That's all FaZe's tone is.
FaZe just feels so untouchable when they're playing their best COD. It's like, how do you beat that?
Mm-hmm.
But this weekend's going to tell a lot. I mean, literally, this whole prediction can get blown up this weekend, depending on who wins this tournament and how they play against each other. So, a lot's on the line this weekend for our predictions. And the hottest operators is on the line this weekend. So, there's a lot on the line this weekend.
There is a lot.
But, all right, let's give a shot in the dark prediction real quick here before we end this podcast. Yeah. Who's the one team that you want to hang your hat on that's not Huntsman, not Empire, and not FaZe to win COD Champs? Rex, I'll give you the first dib.
Rokkr.
Interesting. Really? Okay. I feel like they seem. I'm really worried about the Rokkr.
Yeah.
I'm really worried about the Rokkr.
I think Rocker's either going to make somehow make a trade and they're going to get rid of Asim, or they're going to figure it out, or God are actually going to figure it out. But who knows? I hope Champs is on LAN too.
Oh yeah, I'm feeling pretty confident about that though, with all like the NBA coming back and everything.
Here's the thing: if Champs goes to LAN, now it's like the whole game's changed again. So as we go into Champs, we're going to be saying the same thing. Like, who knows? Like, because it's just like now we're on LAN again.
Oh yeah.
So like, so it's like, so it's just like, it's so hard. So like, that's like a tiny part of me.
On LAN though, I have more confidence in FaZe and Huntsman than like Empire.
I do too. I have more confidence in FaZe on LAN probably than anybody. But that's just the weird thing of it. Like, that's the part of me that hopes it stays online, because then there's consistency.
But at the same time, LAN's so much more epic.
But LAN is so much. LAN is just real. Like,
yeah.
I mean, if we're completely honest, if you play on LAN, that's real winning.
100%.
That's real time winning. Online is, things can happen
for sure.
Even though online is still a good indicator of how things are, but at that high level, it makes a difference. So, I don't know.
I agree.
Part of me hopes it stays online just to keep it consistent. But
yeah,
you gotta want to go to LAN to know who's the best. But it's just like when you go to LAN, you're just like, well, who's the actual? Like, I guess they're the actual best, and we just didn't know it this whole time.
Yeah,
I
know that's what it could like. It could come off as feeling cheesy just because the practice wasn't there before.
Yeah, exactly.
Which
we
would
were
be
able
annoying.
to watch these teams grow to that. It's just like when Evil Geniuses won World War II. It's just kind of like, okay, you guys weren't good all year, and all of a sudden you want to win now. Like, we're looking at these other teams, we want them to do something.
Mm-hmm.
It just felt cheap. It's just like no one cared. Like, you weren't supposed to win. Like, you were not a team that were supposed to be up there.
Yeah,
which is like good for them and great. It's like kind of hype. But it's like, we've been following this whole time. Why weren't you guys showing up before?
Yeah,
so
that's why I'm rooting for new teams to keep on winning, because then it's just going to make Champs even better. Like, if New York or if the Rokkr end up winning one of these, it just sets up for an even more epic Champs, because then you're going to have all these contenders. So I'm really hoping that New York or Rokkr can end up taking one of these.
Like, if Gladiators won Champs, that would feel kind of like cheesy. It's just kind of like, okay, like, I don't know.
The Gladiators?
Or I'm thinking of Overwatch, the Guerillas. If they won, they won Champs,
like, dude, Gladiators is a good movie. Yeah. Wow. Where are you going with this?
They're the same org, just different games. But
that's funny.
The Guerillas won Champs. Wouldn't that just be kind of like?
Oh, it would be terrible.
It'd be terrible. It's just like, you guys weren't performing at all, and now we go to LAN, and now all of a sudden you're good. It's just kind of like, what have we been watching?
Yeah, like
this
imagine
whole
if we go to
time?
LAN, then
What
Seattle
have we
wins.
been watching
you know?
this whole time? Yeah. If Seattle wins, it'd be kind of fun because at least they have some news behind them.
Yeah, for sure. But it would feel cheesy. All right.
Yeah.
So Rex had Rokkr as his like shot in the dark. Sam, who's your shot in the dark?
I want to say London.
Ooh.
I think they're.
That is I would love to see London win one as well. Those are the 3 teams I would love to see win
I
one.
think they're on their upturn. And I think if anyone had a shot other than those 3 teams,
I just want to keep watching them play
Could be
S&D.
London,
So
yeah.
I hope they can keep innovating in S&D because they are fun.
Yeah.
Fun to watch. That's a fun one actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean I would hang my hat on New York. I think if they can figure out their S&D, their respawn is right there. They're debatably the best respawn team already, probably second best behind FaZe probably. And if they can figure out their search and destroy and their dom and iron that out, they're going to be dangerous, but I'm not one to be confident in temp or accuracy long term, so
I'm not confident. Yeah, me neither. Yeah.
So it's just like that's why I'm not. I do like the London pick a lot. Like that's a team that I could definitely see making a run for sure. Rokkr and like the Mutineers are interesting with Awakening, but that's just hard to hang your hat on at this point when you haven't seen Awakening. So
yeah.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
I think that's about right. I think we ended there. This was a interesting podcast, to say the least. And I feel like we could have talked for a lot longer too. I mean, I felt like we were shortening the thing a lot, and still ended up being a long one. So we appreciate you guys for tuning in. Obviously, it means a lot to us. All the support, all the likes, the comments, the reviews, and everything else helps the podcast go, helps the podcast grow. And I was trying to find another rhyme there, but it wasn't coming to me. But we do appreciate it all. But as always, guys, I'm Josh, SalvationsElite. To my right is Bash_Bo3 Sam and Rex ShadyNero on the far right of the screen. And guys, this has been the best 3 podcasts, and we will see you next time. We out.
bye.